Let's actually thank Bill and his entire staff at the Kentucky Chamber of Commerce for putting on an outstanding event tonight. Thank you, Bill. So, I'm Brian Raney, one of the co-founders of this nonprofit organization, and I wanted to make a bit of a confession to all of you tonight. While we've always been transparent about the mission of the organization, we exist first and foremost to raise the awareness of the impact of entrepreneurship that has been made in the Commonwealth. In other words, we want Kentucky entrepreneurs to be more famous than they generally feel and ultimately just be more appreciated for what they've done for the state. So, to our inductees that are out there tonight, I want you to imagine these 8-foot-tall banners with your pictures on them as giant thank you letters that say, "Kentucky thinks you're awesome." And the second part of our mission is to encourage others to pursue similar ambitious endeavors. In other words, if we can make these men and women a little bit more famous, then we hope we can convince other Kentuckians to follow in their footsteps. Now, right now, the most famous thing that you can be in Kentucky is a basketball player. And while I haven't taken official surveys around the state of the most sought-after career paths, I can tell you that my very reasonable and grounded parents, who happen to be here tonight, they always hoped that I would become a UK basketball player. Unfortunately, this isn't exactly what Tubby Smith was looking for. But maybe, if this path of entrepreneurship could be a little bit better known, then it would be one that the next generation of Kentuckians would aspire to. So to do this, we've created a collection of short interviews known as the Founders Series. And we've produced 23 episodes to date that have been viewed over 60,000 times, which, by the way, is more than enough to fill the KFC Yum Center and Rupp Arena combined. We also started an incubator program. For the Kentucky entrepreneurs that are here in our state, and we called it the Awesome Fellowship. This year-long program mentors Kentucky startups, provides them with all the free resources that they need to move their companies forward and to help them grow. And to date, we've had 22 companies complete the program. They have collectively created over 140 Kentucky jobs, and they have raised over $12.6 million in outside funding. But none of that is the confession that I came here to make to you all tonight. While our mission is, and will continue to be, to celebrate and inspire Kentucky entrepreneurs, we, meaning myself and the other co-founders, well, selfishly, we just want to learn from these men and women. And we get to do this by meeting them at this event. We get to hear their acceptance speeches. And of course, we get to do this through the Founders Series interviews. But we knew that we were really only scratching the surface of what they knew and what they had been through. So over the past year, we interviewed 19 inductees from the first 5 classes of the Hall of Fame. We asked them every question that we could think of. We then turned these conversations into a book named after Kentucky's state motto, Unbridled Spirit. And in doing this project, we learned things about them that we had no idea. For example, did you know that Lee Todd made the biggest business decision of his life while sitting in an Arby's right across from the University of Kentucky? Or the fact that Jim Host coined the term March Madness. And who knew that Terry Fort, while still in grade school, found a way to make 300% margins on chewing gum? We learned that John Williams, he wrote the business plan for his first company while he was still in college. But he didn't go on and actually start that company until many years later. Ron Geary, he grew a company from $30 million a year to $1.6 billion a year. We learned that when Billy Harper wants to unwind and relax, he goes to the racetrack and he drives 250 miles per hour. And we figured that Jim Booth was a hard worker, but we didn't realize that he was already working 7 days a week as a 16-year-old. We found out that John Y. Brown, well, he was motivated by his mother questioning whether or not he was worth even $1 per hour. And finally, we figured that R.J. Corman was a determined man, but we didn't know his determination went this deep. When doctors told him that he had cancer and he had 6 months to live, he responded with, "No, I've got more than that." He went on to live another 14 years while continuing to buy railroads and grow his company. So thankfully, while this book was selfishly fun for us, it's also already starting to contribute to the mission that we set out to achieve. As far as making these inductees more famous, well, dozens of articles have been written about the book. It had over 50 Amazon reviews in its first 3 days. And for a while, it was the number 2 business biography on Amazon. And as for inspiring others to do the same, well, there's a lot more to be done on that front. But I want to conclude by sharing a quick story with you about my nephew, Tyler. So Tyler is 8 years old, and he joined the business club at his school this year in Berea, Kentucky. And last weekend, Tyler spent his Saturday launching his own business where he designs, handcrafts, and sells wooden coasters. He created a business plan, and he calculated potential net profits. And while I haven't seen the updated financials yet, I do know that he sold out in his first day of business. I know that because I didn't get my order fulfilled yet, and Uncle Brian is still actually waiting to get his orders. So while Tyler's friends may have been watching the Kentucky basketball game last night, hoping that someday they might play for Coach Cal, I have a pretty good hunch that Tyler was busy fulfilling orders and working on becoming a future Kentucky Entrepreneur Hall of Famer. So in an effort to make entrepreneurship a more viable path for kids like Tyler, let's celebrate entrepreneurship tonight. Let's continue to encourage entrepreneurship tomorrow. At this time, I would like to ask all of the previous Kentucky Entrepreneur Hall of Fame inductees that are in attendance tonight to make your way to the stage over here to my right. So if you are a previous inductee, if you can just make your way over here. And as they make their way to the stage, I would like to thank these individuals for their efforts and their dedication to the entrepreneurial community. This group of successful entrepreneurs that you'll see here in a moment, they've dedicated their lives to making our state a better place, to work and to live. Not only that, but they're now willing to invest into future generations of entrepreneurs in our state. Many of these previous inductees have made a commitment to invest their time and their money into new businesses and entrepreneurs in Kentucky. And with their financial support over the last few years, the fellowship program has been able to provide resources to early-stage companies in their entrepreneurial journeys. So before I introduce the previous inductees of the Kentucky Entrepreneur Hall of Fame that are here tonight, I'd like to invite one of the co-founders of the Entrepreneur Hall of Fame to join me on stage. So Bobby Clark is going to join me on stage. Bobby Clark co-founded his first business at the University of Kentucky in 1981, UK Student Agencies. Bobby was a delegate to the White House Conference on Small Business in 1995, where he helped pass a law that was unanimously approved to establish the Kentucky Commission on Small Business Advocacy in 2000. And he was appointed its first chair by Governor Patton. Bobby is currently co-founder of Midwest Clean Energy Enterprises, founder and president of Sustainable Business Ventures, and co-founder of the Kentucky Entrepreneur Network. Let's give it up for Bobby Clark real quick. So the first inductee from previous classes that I'd like to recognize is Lee Todd, class of 2010, Projectron and DataBeam. Former UK President Lee Todd founded 2 high-tech companies, DataBeam and Projectron. DataBeam developed and manufactured high-resolution teleconferencing systems in the early days of this technology and was sold to IBM in 1998. Jim Host, class of 2010, Host Communications. Starting from scratch in 1972, Jim Host built Host Communications into the preeminent college sports marketing firm in the country and later sold to IMG. Jim has been a personal mentor of mine over the past few years, and he has done a lot to move forward this community. I'm grateful for that. John Y. Brown, class of 2010, KFC. John might be over there. Brown made KFC a global brand and built it into a multi-million-dollar restaurant chain. He also served as the 55th governor of Kentucky. He has been one of the biggest advocates for the Hall of Fame since its inception. Kent Taylor, class of 2011, Texas Roadhouse. Taylor has over 30 years of experience in the restaurant industry. By 2010, Texas Roadhouse was doing over $1 billion in revenue and reached a market cap of $1.25 billion. Terry Fort, class of 2012, Fort Group. Fort has acquired and created nearly 100 businesses during his career. Mr. Fort donated $3 million to U of L's College of Business, establishing the Fort Center for Entrepreneurship, where students can expand their exposure to the challenges and opportunities of the business world. Ron Geary, class of 2012, ResCare. Gary joined ResCare in 1989, and he took the company public in 92. Under his leadership, the company grew from 6 states to 36 states, and he has been named Forbes magazine's Best Small Companies in America 4 times. Mr. Geary has been a tremendous asset to this state and a huge supporter of the Hall of Fame. George Fisher, class of 2013, Metrodata Computer and Servend International. Fisher was co-founder of Metrodata Computer. He took the company public and later sold to Sun Oil in 1979. After that, Fisher founded Servend International. If you've ever been to a fast food joint and you've used the drink machine, then you've used George Fisher's product. Billy Harper, class of 2013, Harper Industries. In 1980, Mr. Harper founded Harper Industries. Harper Industries now includes 7 construction-related divisions with offices in Kentucky and Tennessee, and has construction sites in more than 20 states. John Williams, class of 2014, CSI. Founder and chairman of CSI, his company provided customers with integrated and streamlined technology solutions. As of 2014, CSI revenues were $213 million, with over $26 million in net profit. Jim Booth, class of 2014, Booth Energy Group. Mr. Booth co-founded his first contract mining company and was earning more than $1 million a year by his 28th birthday. Booth has since diversified his business holdings and now owns dozens of companies. Phil Greer, class of 2015, Greer Companies. In the 1980s, Greer partnered with Craig Dunn to form Dunn Greer Realtors, and shortly thereafter, Greer Companies was born. Greer dove into the restaurant industry by opening up franchises of Shoney's, Fazoli's, and Cheddar's. They employ over 6,500 people and generate over $200 million in annual sales. Kent Euler, class of 2016, High Speed Access Corp. And OPM Services. Euler founded HSAC in 1997, which went on to record the largest IPO of any Kentucky company to date. Let's give it up one more time for all of the previous inductees.